I have to disagree with you, sir. I have to disagree with you a little bit in that, of course, we have a Republican president. It would hurt the sitting president. The sitting president now is Kamala Harris. She's representing the White House. She is the incumbent. And to move into November 5th with prices that go nuts again, I'm not quite sure how that benefits them. But, sir, thank you.
Where are the issues most prominent? Where have you been kind of focused and hearing on what would happen if the strike goes, let's say, longer than a week?
Again, I have not been very focused on that.
Clearly, whatever is perishable is going to be felt first.
Sure.
And that's what we keep hearing, that food is going to go bad. We'll see if this is still on in a week, but as the longer it takes to resolve this, you're going to see shortages of everything.
This isn't just about the dock workers. This is about truckers. This is about other union workers throughout the supply chain, Maria. And you're going back to the food. We learned yesterday on the program that like a container full of bananas, that's going to spoil in 1 week. One Florida importer, he brings in asparagus on ships to sell to grocery stores in Florida. He said, look, I'm going to have to fly it in now. That shipment's going to be flown in, and that's going to be 50 cents a pound of a markup. This is inflation. This is going to hit your grocery store. It isn't going to be this week. But you know, Maria, by 2 weeks, you're going to see it. Make no mistake. The Teamsters don't want Biden to get involved because he could invoke the legal Taft-Harris law, the Taft-Hartley law. He brings that in, 80-day cooling off period. We're 5 weeks out from the election, Maria. 5 weeks. Timing,
that's a good
not
point.
good.
Yeah. That's probably why he doesn't want to intervene. He was asked, are you going to get involved? He said, no, I'm not going to get involved, Joe. But look, this is happening just at the time that we're supposed to be reining in inflation. It's going to spike right back up again.
From Maine to Texas, dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas began walking picket lines early Tuesday, and a strike over wages and automation that could reignite inflation and cause shortages of goods if it goes on more than a few weeks.
We saw some last-minute negotiations happening between them. The U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents the shipping companies, the terminals, and some of the other port agents, were able to put a proposal together that looked really good. I mean, they came up from their initial offer up to 50% pay wages, increases over 6 years, talked about tripling the amount of money provided for retirement, and also more health care. However, the ILA has been adamant that they really wanted this strike. They want to raise issues regarding the absolute amount of money that the shipping companies have made. The 7 shipping companies that are on the United States Maritime Alliance board are all foreign owned, including one from the Chinese government, Chinese Overseas Shipping Company. And ILA wants to raise this issue, and they're doing it now. They want to get in the news cycle.
Why is this impacting ports on the East Coast, or are those the only ones that are affiliated with the ILA?
Yeah, it's East and Gulf Coast. So we got ports all the way from Boston down to Houston that are going to be impacted. On the West Coast, you have the ILWU, which we had that a labor negotiation with the Pacific Maritime Association. And here on the East and Gulf Coast, the ILA represents these workers. And we saw that not only is the ILA out on strike, but they got a sympathetic letter from the Teamsters Union coming out. And so what we're going to see right now is ships that are in the ports are stuck there. They won't be able to leave. This is going to impact mainly container ships and car carriers. Oil tankers, cruise lines should not be impacted by this.
It's going to saddle whoever wins the election with an economy next year that many say is getting a little sketchy. But this is something that if you really care about the American people, you're going to tell them it's in your best interest to find an agreement here.
Well, disruptions primarily favor the liberals, if they did the last time, with COVID not favoring President Trump in the conservative belief. So I firmly believe that this is something part of their strategy that they're portraying. Because
sir, I have to disagree with you. Sir, I have to disagree with you a little bit in that, of course, we have a Republican president. It would hurt the sitting president. The sitting president now is Kamala Harris. She's representing the White House. She is the incumbent. And to move into November 5th with prices that go nuts again, I'm not quite sure how that benefits them. But sir, thank you.
This is a historic strike, but it will ultimately affect our economy from, Brownsville all the way to Maine. We are going to see ports closing, workers limited, and it's going to affect businesses across the country. The International Longshoremen's Association says dock workers want better health benefits. The union is also demanding a 77% wage hike over 6 years for its 25,000 workers. They also want a complete ban on automation, on cranes, gates, as well as container loading and unloading, of course, to keep their jobs out at the ports. The strike could end up costing billions of dollars due to undelivered containers at ports along the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico. This means we could start to see the cost of things like groceries and apparel begin to rise within a few weeks if we don't see a deal made soon. Supply chain experts say this could cost the United States $5 billion with a B each day that workers are on strike, and it could be an estimated 4 to 6 days to clear up cargo for each day they are not working.
The White House also maintaining it would not use the Taft-Hartley Act to keep ports open and force negotiations. However, I've been speaking to many industry groups and their leaders. They want the Biden administration to take further action. Many of them saying across a number of industries, I'm talking spirits, auto parts, agricultural apparel, that a strike is going to be devastating for not only consumers, but for their business.